Hello, everyone. How was your weekend? I hope you all had a great one. In part two, we'll learn the management of business performance, the PDCA cycle, and problem solving. Management Skills Training Program, Video 2-1. Part 2, Management of Business Performance. This diagram explains the relationships between objectives and KPIs. KPI is an acronym for Key Performance Indicator. We will see examples of KPIs later. A company has its own goals, and the level of the achievements needs to be measured numerically according to some criteria, namely KPI. And the goals of the companies are shared by underlying departments. And the role of the company is divided and handed down to each department. Based on that role, each department sets objectives. And the level of the achievement is measured by KPIs that are set for each department. At each department, every member is assigned to a role and is expected to achieve their objectives. And their performances are measured numerically by KPIs set for them. Let me review the previous slide by reading this. In order to achieve the company objectives, each department shares the roles, including achieving business performance. A department manager is responsible for achieving business performance indicators of his or her department. The manager allocates jobs to subordinates, as well as setting his or her performance indicators. Policy deployment. Policy deployment is the process of setting the followers' objectives based on the senior's objectives. For example, suppose that the manager's target is a 10% reduction in material cost. Then this target is translated to the policy of subordinate. Based on the manager's policy, the target of the subordinates would be set to 1/3 replacement of suppliers. Let me summarize like this. Based on measure and the target of the senior, the lower makes his or her policy, measure, and the target. Policy deployment is a flow of the policy from the top to the bottom. This slide shows the mechanism of the business performance management. In a narrow sense, business performance is equal to the profit, that is, sales minus cost. In a broad sense, business performance includes results brought about by other business activities. For example, management resources are used to pay cost and incorporate profits. And the direct sections consisting of multiple businesses create various products and services for customers. And indirect sections help direct sections operate smoothly. The results from all these activities are considered business performance in a broad sense. So, performance indicators are something that should be set according to the previous definitions of business performance. In a narrow sense, performance indicators will be sales, profits, or other added values. On the other hand, performance indicators in a broader sense will be set throughout the whole business activities. Here, I should point out some important points to consider when setting performance indicators. Performance indicators should be consistent with the objectives of the company or organization. And performance indicators should be consistent with department goals. And performance indicators should be shared among members. This slide is a sequel to the previous one. Important points of setting performance indicators. Necessary activities are decided on the indicators. Once you have set an indicator, you should identify necessary business processes to accomplish it. If you feel you need a new process, you should create it. Because educational sites are likely to be forgotten, I should stress the importance of setting indicators for training subordinates and the organizational development. Please think about what are the performance indicators in your organization. KPIs are the most important indicators to assess the achievement level. There are three types of KPIs, such as financial KPIs and non-financial result-based KPIs and activity-based KPIs. The following are examples of KPIs. Return on equity. This is an example of a financial KPI. Value added ratio. This is also an example of financial KPI. Customer satisfaction rate. This is an example of non-financial KPI. Frequency of visits to customers. This is an example of an activity-based KPI. There are some points you should consider when setting KPIs. They are symbolically called SMART plus C. Specific means that KPIs should be easy to understand for managers and employees to know what to do specifically. In other words, the KPIs need to show the relationships between the KPIs and business activities clearly. Measurable means you should be able to calculate them by gathering data from business processes. Namely, KPIs should be quantitative rather than qualitative. Achievable means that KPIs should be realistic and feasible through the efforts of managers and employees. Relevant means that KPIs should be consistent with the company's goals. Time-bound means that KPIs should be measured over an appropriate time span. And controllable means that KPIs should be achieved by our own activities and should not significantly be influenced by external conditions. We can classify KPIs into two categories depending on whether they are directly linked to money or not. One is called process indicator. The other one is called result indicators. Time, duration, or something related to activities but difficult to link to money values are considered process indicators. On the other hand, profit, defect rate, or something that can be described in money values are considered result indicators. Managers need to find out ways to improve all of them. This is an example of KPIs of Microsoft Corporation. This company mainly focuses on revenues and growth rates as its KPIs. And in this slide, bookings mean sales. This slide shows the KPIs of Safaricom, a telecommunication service provider. Revenue and ARPU, or average revenue per user, are financial KPIs. Numbers of customers are non-financial result-based KPIs. And numbers of stations are activity-based KPIs. You can see that these three types of KPIs are used in a well-balanced way. This slide shows the KPIs of Malaysia Productivity Corporation. Please find KPIs and their types in this table. This slide shows the KPIs of the Federal Ministry of Health, Ethiopia. The public sector also set the KPIs to monitor and evaluate the results of the activities. As usual, I'll give you 5 quizzes at the last of this video. If you have watched this video carefully, these quizzes are very easy. Don't forget to submit your answer sheet by the stipulated date. Okay, this is the end of this video. Please watch the next one.